Okay, I'm going to do an emergency press conference here on Bitcoin. We had the $19 billion crypto heist on Friday. It was unbelievably well executed, and I think the perpetrators could not have imagined such a success. I'm going to get into my theory on this based on what I see. The internet can tell me where I'm wrong later. But here's what I think. These are the most important points for coin holders specifically. At the end of this, we're going to have my Bitcoin outlook, how that's changed, plus 3 cryptos to watch. So the first thing I think we all need to understand what happened Friday, just a high level overview. Trump talked tariffs, the market crashed, S&P was down like 3%, 5 p.m. came around, he said the 100% tariff, and the crypto market, absolutely, the bottom fell out of it. And everybody's emailing me, DMing me, calling me, saying, why was crypto so impacted by tariff stuff? The answer is interesting. We're going to dive into that now. But first, we need to come into this with a clean slate mindset, as it seems, I believe. So first of all, this, I think, was a coordinated attack that wiped out billions of dollars. In cryptocurrency trading, there is an extraordinary amount of leverage available to people. Some of these exchanges, for every $1,000 you have, you can open a position of $10,000, $20,000, etc. Once you've lost the $1,000 of your capital, the position gets liquidated, meaning you're forced to sell or close the position. You could buy $20,000 worth of Ethereum or Dogecoin or Solana, and all it would take is a 5% move against you to cause that position to be closed and you get liquidated. So here's the liquidations that occurred on Friday. 19 billion in total, 10 billion at Hyperliquid. That was the main place where there's tons of leverage positions. Bybit, Binance, billions of dollars of levered positions were liquidated. So what caused this? A lot of people are saying, was the Trump family or Trump connections involved in this, because there was some big positions taken short right before his announcement. It's very possible that Trump family connections profited from him talking about tariffs. I don't put anything past that, but there was more to it than that. This is USDE. This is a stable coin on the Binance platform, an enormous exchange. You can see on Friday that the top chart shows what happened to this. And this is supposed to be $1 flat all the time and never really deviate from $1. There's algorithmic trading that happens to make sure it stays at $1. This is a stable coin people can use in their accounts to represent dollars without exposure to a specific crypto. The top chart shows what USDE did during the Friday meltdown on all other exchanges other than Binance. It went down to 0.9957. So it lost not even half a penny of value and went right back up to $1. It performed the way it should have. But what happened on Binance itself, on the exchange, because they had a known vulnerability in the way they calculated and reacted to changes in this stablecoin, it went down. This stablecoin that's supposed to stay at $1, that only went down half a penny everywhere else, on Binance went down to 65 cents because someone sold millions of dollars all at once, specifically on the Binance platform. There was an 8-day window where this could have happened. Binance announced that on Tuesday the 14th, they were going to fix this because it had become a known pain point. So there's an 8-day window where somebody could have pulled off this type of attack. This is really critical to understand. The value of your dollars in their dollar stablecoin fell to 65 cents. If you had a $1,000 balance on Binance and you opened a 20-to-1 leveraged position, $1,000 to $20,000 position. All of a sudden, because of this attack on the Binance stablecoin, that $1,000 of collateral on their end became worth $650. Even without the $20,000 worth that you bought changing in price at all, your leverage has gone from 20 to 1 all the way up to 30 to 1 or more. And now you get liquidated. They sell the $20,000 of the coin that you had, which pushes that price lower. And that happens to thousands of users across the entire platform, pushing prices of cryptocurrencies lower while collateral is artificially manipulated, forcing liquidation after liquidation, dumping cryptos to the point that you get this $19 billion worth of liquidations. It all started from this attack on the Binance stablecoin. By attacking that, the attackers knew they would expand leverage to the point of liquidation on that platform. And then those liquidations would force crypto prices lower, which would cause other liquidations for people that were less levered. My theory is that this was a coordinated attack the Binance stablecoin, get these levered positions to liquidate, push crypto prices lower, etc. And before we do that, we're going to open a big short position on a lot of cryptocurrencies and make millions, if not billions of dollars. That's what I think happened. Now, where does the Trump tariff stuff come into play? This may have been the luckiest moment of a crypto attacker's life when Trump said, I'm going to be talking about tariffs at 5 p.m. after the typical New York exchange stock markets close. There's very little liquidity in the crypto markets at that point in time. So he's going to talk at 5 p.m. What better time to execute this plan? We're the attackers. We've got 8 days to do this. We've got 6 days left. Friday, here comes this gift of the President of the United States talking about China tariffs on a negative down day for the stock market. We can execute this plan that will create massive waves of selling in the crypto market. That gives us cover and accelerant and some external source to blame for all this selling. And it gives people even more reason to sell and be fearful to make this position more profitable. I don't think the Trump family or connections had anything to do with this. I think it was a sophisticated attack by someone who knew how the Binance system worked. It's possible that it's always possible that someone in a position of power in the Trump family, we know that they like to make money. We know that they like to use their pulpit to make money. It's very possible that they were tangentially involved or had a part in the timing. I don't know, but they didn't need to be part of it for it to work. How did Bitcoin do? Bitcoin did pretty well during all this. You can see Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Solana versus Ripple. Purple line, Bitcoin got knocked down, is now down 7 or 8% from before where the attack happened. The others down 11, 14, 12%. Bitcoin's the best in turbulent times. Gold was even better. It was positive. Bitcoin's the best of the cryptocurrencies. Gold was the best asset to be in during all of this. What I like about Bitcoin is that it did what it's done for a very long time. For the past year, Bitcoin up 81%, gold up 52%, silver up 52%, while the indexes, NASDAQ, S&P, and real estate all performed worse. 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year annual returns, Bitcoin and gold at any level, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, or 5 year, Bitcoin and gold beat the NASDAQ, beat the S&P 500, beat real estate. Pretty awesome. So Bitcoin is king. We know that. But the biggest lesson of this whole thing, in my opinion, is that leverage makes your position a target. When you take a position using leverage, say 10 to 1 leverage, I, as a potential attacker, know that if I can move the asset price down 10%, or your collateral value down 20%, I can create a situation where you must sell for a complete loss. I don't like being in those positions, so I don't use leverage. I use cold storage. I keep my Bitcoin in cold storage. When this whole thing was happening and everybody was worried, you didn't have to be using leverage to be worried, because if you're on an exchange that offers leverage, you're worried during this entire thing that your exchange is going upside down. $19 billion is being liquidated. Can your exchange sustain this and defend your capital? Because they're lending your capital to others to provide this leverage. So exchange users, especially those leverage trading, were liquidated or very worried during this entire thing. But if you have Bitcoin, the best asset, in cold storage, it can't be touched. Only you can move it. No one can reach in and grab it. It's yours. That's the biggest takeaway from me. Cold storage wins again. It's not your keys. They're not your coins. My Bitcoin outlook. I think this event probably took some trust out of the market. Bitcoin still gets lumped in with cryptos. There's no way around it. And that's the truth. I think a lot of people read about these massive crashes. They see that Bitcoin moved down 15% within an hour. It had a $20,000, I think it was 20, it was at least $10,000 or $15,000 hourly bar, daily bar, insane amounts of movement. And all the other cryptos, some completely wiped out. You read about people that lost millions of dollars because they were levered and I'm in cold storage. I'm still affected by that story. So I think Bitcoin is going to grind here. I think it probably drifts lower because there's less trust. It needs another catalyst higher. So what am I doing? I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm doing the same thing I've done for years, adding to my Bitcoin position every single day and putting it into cold storage, because I think Bitcoin eventually becomes what gold's market cap is, which is over at 10x from here. Excuse me. So aside from Bitcoin, what cryptos are we watching? I think there's three that I really am getting very interested in here. Of course, Bitcoin's always going to be on the list. Bitcoin is an infinite hold for us with an infinite price target. But I'm also starting to like Solana a lot. I like the liquidity pools on Solana. Solana could be the rails of the future. I think it's probably better than Ethereum, although Ethereum has a big moat and is way ahead. Solana is definitely worth looking at. That's right around 195, 196 right now. Very volatile. I think it's worth adding a little exposure, potentially getting into a liquidity pool, that kind of thing. I like Solana. I really like the tech there and what you can build on top of it. Other than Bitcoin is World Liberty Financial, WLFI. This took a tank down. I think it got as low as 8 cents. I think it's trading at 12 or 13 cents right now. If you think the Trump family is out to enrich themselves, then you gotta think they're going to get their own coin, their own platform pumped up, and they're going to use their connections to do so. So on a dip from 20 cents, 21, 22 cents, down to 12 or 13 here, I think it's worth a look whether you're pro-Trump and think they're earnestly trying to change the ecosystem of the economy for the better, or if you just think they're corrupt. Either way, I think this is one that could benefit quite a bit. Really risky. I wouldn't put a lot of money into it, but I think it's at least one to watch. World Liberty Financial. Bottom line, I think there's a lot more to this story than just the tariff talk. This was a coordinated attack where the attackers used the tariff press conference as a smokescreen, as an accelerant for what they wanted to do. And that was steal a lot of money from a lot of people by manipulating the market. And we're not going to use leverage. We're not going to keep our coins on exchanges. We're going to keep them in our own wallets we control. That's the big takeaway here. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you didn't get wiped out. I don't think any of you did because you've been listening to us, but we're long Bitcoin and we love it from here. We'll continue to look for other opportunities as we move forward. That's it for today. We'll see you again. I'm Andy Swan. Appreciate all of you.